Welcome to our tip of the week. Today we're going to talk about applying for your green card through the adjustment of status process. We're going to discuss what it is, who can apply for it, what are the requirements, and how the process goes once you've requested it. Join me. My name is Andres Mejer, and I'm an immigration attorney and an immigrant myself. I came to the U.S. as a child and couldn't speak English. My parents paid an immigration attorney to help us get our green cards, who did absolutely nothing but took our money and wasted our time. 2 years and $5,000 to be precise. My parents couldn't legally get a job like many immigrants today. If you can think of any mistake an immigrant could make, trust me, we did it at least once. We lived without legal status for nearly a decade, so I know how stressful that is. And even after I got my green card, I almost lost it because I just didn't know the rules. You avoid all these mistakes and bad experiences. That's why I do what I do. And it's why I create these videos. So, to spread the information and give immigrants knowledge that they will need to deal with the immigration system and help them solve their problems. If you need help with your immigration issue, give us a call. If we can't help you, we won't take your money. Please share this video with others who you think it could help, subscribe to our page, and leave your comments below. Again, we're going to be talking today about the green card through the adjustment of status process. Adjustment of status is the process that you can use to apply for lawful permanent resident status, also known as applying for a green card, when you are physically present in the United States. This means you may get a green card without having to return to your home country, without having to file for a waiver, and without completing the visa processing outside the United States. First, in apply for the adjustment status, you need to be eligible for one of the green card eligibility categories. Now, most cases fall under green card through family, meaning your spouse, your parent, your child, or your sibling filed for you. Employment, so an employer or a potential employer is filing for you that has been approved and now a visa is available. A special immigrant, well, that could be special immigrant juvenile. It could be special immigrant visa holder like the Afghanis. It could also be through a religious basis, through initially an ARB, or through something like VAWA, which is also comes under victims of abuse. So, green card through family, through employment, special immigrant, or refugee or asylee status, or human trafficking and crime victims. So that could be U visa, T visa, S visa, or victims of abuse, which is VAWA. Let's talk about the process. Now, the first step that we do is a background check, and we do that for almost any client, for almost any issue that we're filing for. Typically, the background check includes FBI, motor vehicle, and all immigration agencies. See, the idea is I want any document that the government might have that would be relevant before we file your case, or certainly before we get to the interview stage. Now, if you live or lived in New Jersey, I want your motor vehicle history, because driving under the influence, DUI or DWI, in New Jersey is not considered a crime, but is considered a traffic offense, a serious traffic offense that has significant consequences to your livelihood. You could lose your driver's license. In some cases, if you're a truck driver, you could lose your job. If you need a security clearance, well, with that conviction, you might very well lose that security clearance. So it's a traffic violation, but with serious consequences. But the point is, not every town in New Jersey will fingerprint you when they charge you or convict you of a DUI. So just pulling FBI records wouldn't give me that information. So for New Jersey in specific, we want your driver's abstract as well. FBI sometimes has any apprehensions from ICE at the border, not always, which is why we fingerprint you, and we also request your information directly from immigration. There's 7 different immigration agencies. And again, I'm talking about in general, not in every case do we need all 7. However, what I don't want is Customs and Border Patrol telling me, that it has a document that belongs to ICE, and because it's from another agency, they can't disclose it. That's why we ask all agencies to avoid the finger pointing. So number one is background check. And what we're looking for is there anything that makes you ineligible? And if there is, we want to fix it in advance. Step two is gather your documents. What documents are we talking about? Well, it really depends on the basis for your application. Now, for this roadmap, we're doing a family-based application. So let's say it's your spouse. All right, so I'm going to show I need marriage certificate for the two of you. I need identity documents for the two of you. So passport, birth certificate, any children that you have, their birth certificates, any prior marriages. I need divorce decrees from them or a death certificate showing that you are now eligible to enter into marriage. Then I want bona fides of the marriage. So any documentation that shows that you are living together, that your financial affairs and your friends and family are all in your close circle. So photos, letters of support, vacations you've gone together, credit card bills, utility bills, anything that comes into the home with that address, taxes. So we gather all of those documents, and then three, we prepare and we mail it. Now, green card through the adjustment in a family-based scenario, you can file for everything at the same time. The adjustment of status is really the I-485. Now, if you entered legally and you have a immediate relative, which often is a spouse, a parent, or a child who's a US citizen, not in every circumstance, because if you're a parent filing for a child who's an adult, it's not an immediate relative. However, if you're a child who's an adult filing for your parents, it is your immediate relative. It's confusing. It's one of those things you just have to memorize because logically it doesn't make as much sense. It just doesn't make as much sense, unfortunately. So if we're talking about a U visa scenario where you've already been approved for the U visa, you've had it long enough, you're only filing the I-485. That could be with a VAWA process. However, VAWA process, you can also, under certain circumstances, file for the VAWA, the I-360, and the adjustment at the same time. So just understand that for the purpose of this example, in some circumstances, you're filing for the visa and you're filing for the green card at the same time. In other circumstances, you filed for your visa, like in an employment context, in a U visa context, in an asylum context, you were approved for that, you waited a period of time, and then you filed for the adjustment of status. Again, for purposes of this example, it's a marriage-based family application where you're filing the I-130, document the relationship, and the green card adjustment of status I-485 at the same time. So step two is gather the necessary documents. Step three is prepare all the petitions, assemble the package with a cover letter in a coherent, logical framework. We want to make it as easy as possible for the officer to review it and approve. Once it's filed, typically within 2 to 4 weeks, it used to be 1 week, USCIS is going to receive the package and send you a receipt. That receipt is proof that it was filed. And it's really important because you can go to uscis.gov with the receipt number and you can check on the status of your application. So 4 is you receive the receipt. 5 is you get chosen for an appointment. That's where they fingerprint you. Now, you may not always be fingerprinted. What I mean by that, historically, every single time you filed, you were fingerprinted. But now your fingerprints are done digitally. So if it was done once and they're still valid, there's really no reason to call you back in. They could just run your digital prints to the security systems and databases that USCIS has. But that is their discretion. So either they're going to call you in or they're going to send you a notice saying, hey, we already have your prints on file digitally. We don't need you to come in. If you do have to come in, the notice will tell you the date and time to do so. Historically, 3 to 4 months after you've been fingerprinted, you will receive your work permit. Now, with the work permit, you also will get Social Security number. Not necessarily the same day, they're 2 different agencies, but you will get it. Then some point thereafter, you're gonna have to get a medical exam. The medical exam happens before the interview. We used to file the medical exam with step 3, all your applications. But the problem is now USCIS is taking so long to review the applications and call you for an interview if you file it with all of your documents, you could run into the situation where by the time you have your interview, the medical exam is no longer valid. It was for 12 months, then it was extended for 18 months, then for 2 years. Now under COVID, it's been extended for 4 years, as long as it's filed within 60 days of when the doctor signs it. So depending on when you filed it, you will either do the medical exam at step 3 or you'll do it at step 7, which is what I recommend just before the interview. That way there are no surprises. At the interview, all goes well, you will get a decision that day. Now, that doesn't happen very often. They might request more documents. The way we do it is because so much time is taken from step 3 when you prepare a mail and step 8 to when you have the interview, we supplement all of the documents. Obviously, identity documents I don't need. It's really more about the bona fides. So maybe it's a new year, new taxes. Obviously, there's more bank account statements. There's more expenses. Maybe you've gone on vacation together. Maybe you have more photos. Maybe you have more letters of support. Maybe you were arrested for something, but you were not convicted. So we'd have to give that disposition. So before the interview, we typically supplement with additional bona fides of the marriage. It's another opportunity to say, hey, this is clear cut. They definitely deserve it. It's a legitimate marriage. Step 9 is you receive the green card. Now, you're either going to get approved there at the interview or you're going to get noticed in the future that you're approved and then get your green card. And that's step 9. And that's all for today, friends. Thank you for tuning in. To everyone who likes, shares, and writes us and gives us a comment. If there is a particular topic or situation you want me to explore, leave a comment below. I'll do my best to get back to you. Or maybe create a video on your question or issue. If you know someone who get value from this video, please share it with them, as we hope the information can help as many people as possible. As always, stay healthy, be well, and get your vaccines.